podcasting. And now is the fun time where we get to just chatter and get everything proper. Because if you talk, we can hear you, right, Joey?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sitting in the bathroom.
Why aren't you in the basement anymore?
Just because I'm watching the kids, because
Oh,
Ashley's
okay.
not here. So
Oh,
I
okay.
have like, Brooklyn and Jace are in the bed, and then CJ's in his room, banging on the window. So the neighbor might see him banging on the fall asleep eventually.
Help me!
Yeah, it's usually what we think he's doing too. It's like, somebody's going to be like, "Oh, is your child okay?" It's like, "Yeah, he's fine."
It's just what he does.
Mhm.
Okay, Twitch, why are you not showing proper? Sorry, I'm just making sure that
It's okay.
all is well.
I keep singing Michael in the bathroom.
Here, I will do the better thing and actually not that, you stupid thing. Okay, so if I do that, and then I do this, and then I go to Twitch on my regular Chrome, and go to my channel. Okay, I can see me. Perfect. That's all that matters.
Fair.
And you should hopefully pop up in just a second. There you go. Perfect. Okay, we're running. Is what that tells me. Um. Okay, so we can go in just a second here.
Mm-hmm. I'm coming from my head going up. So it looks like I have a couple chins right here.
Oh, you're kind of frozen, actually.
Oh.
There we go. I think I may have fixed it. Maybe. Okay.
Does the audio still come in?
No, I have it muted on mine, so it
Oh.
works out perfectly well. Okie doke. So this sucked. Anyway. I watched more of it.
It was awful. It was very, very boring. It took me like 7 tries just to get through 3 episodes. It was like realistically, it took me 5 tries to get through 1. Like the first time I actually watched the first episode all the way through was 3 nights ago. Like I just boring and dumb and uninteresting.
Yep, and that is our cold open. This is Animesplaining. We watched Eyeshield 21. This is episode 3. If you're wondering on the YouTube why Gundam Part 2 is not up, it's because that episode's effectively lost at this point. Who cares? Joey actually likes Gundam and does not like
There.
football. So Joey, would you say that you are not ready for some football?
This was not football. It was dorky child who can run fast. By the way, do you know you gain an entire second on the 40 just by running from something? It was God, dumb.
Faster than pro athletes when he's in high
Like,
school.
hey, I ran it 5 flat, running as fast as I can, but now I have a dog chasing after me, and now suddenly I ran a 4.2.
Because does he run that 40 in pads? Or is he just running normally?
I think they run it normally, but maybe they run it in pads. I mean, because the quarterback runs a 5.1 40. And they're like, oh, 5 is pretty good. It's like, nah, not really. I mean, in high school, I ran between. I mean, this is high school. Now I'd run it much slower, but high school, I ran, what, a 4.8 something. So it was like, and I mean, I was middle of the pack. So it wasn't like I was the fastest one on the team at all.
Did you also have a team of small children, but also 30-year-olds?
I do like the idea that like we need to hide him from other teams effectively because they can poach him. Like what? Like they're just gonna recruit him to another school like in the middle of the year? Like it's not really how that works.
Yeah.
And then we went to private school where we did poach kids, but you still can't do it in the middle of the year.
Yeah, so for the people wondering what Eyeshield 21 is it is an anime that hopped on the bandwagon of popular sports anime, and they said, let's make one about American football. American football, obviously not super popular in Japan. It may have been with NFL money, like their Shield is in the credits, but we don't know just how much NFL money was involved in this. Obviously not enough.
I think I kind of differ. I think this was the NFL's idea. I think this was like, but like, let's not invest much in it because of like the chances of us. I mean, like, cool, we have NFL Europe. Let's put a little more over to that. But hey, we got to branch out a little bit globally because baseball's still big in Japan, and basketball obviously is taken off in China. So maybe we can get a little more eyes on our product in East Asia, and this is what they put out there. Just a really, really, really bad. I wouldn't even call it a commercial. It's like a really bad, like those annoying like videos we watched in grade school, like how to something.
Well, I honestly want to know, like, how this lasted as long as it did. Because, obviously, the show's over at this point. But this went on for 3 seasons. Each almost 50 episodes apiece. If we watch the entire first season, that would be 51 episodes.
So much sleep.
That is torturous.
I mean, that's got to be NFL money. That has got to be what it is. Like, hey, play this for however many episodes. Pay your animators minimum wage.
Oh, obviously minimum wage. I have the banner up here, and the banner is, I think it does this show too much credit, because in their little key art here, like, you can obviously see the difference between, like, main character and their lineman, where, like, he's super simplistic, very round. You don't seem to think he's problematic, but I do. But all of the main characters seem like they are designed for other anime. Because you have your main character, and we'll just refer to them by their positions, because I don't want to go back in the Wikipedia page. But you have main character running back, who's just standard anime child. You have their quarterback, who looks like he's like 25, but also an elf, because he has pointed ears and fangs.
Demon, yeah,
yeah,
because he's supposed to be evil incarnate in the beginning. Obviously, you begin to like him a little bit more, but it's just weird. And he sicks his dog on people.
Yep, he sicks his dog on people. He has a burn book that apparently convinces people to play a very physical and demanding sport.
Hey, you're playing basketball? Well, what if I tell everybody you wet the bed when you were 6 years old? It's like, the fuck cares? I'm 6 years old.
High schoolers care, Joey. This I will say, this is not for us. I will put this addendum as we're going to hate on this for, the next 45 minutes to an hour. This show is not for us. This is aimed at children. This is aimed at high schoolers.
Obviously, I tried. I did not even get half to what you were. I tried. This was... Oh, man. No. I, so many times would fall asleep. So many times. This is I'd hate to tell you, this is what I thought anime was before we started this channel. It's exactly like everything bad I thought about this genre was in this show. Like you have like the non-likable, goofy child character that's able to like hang in this world of what seemingly are adults, like we're talking about now. There's the weird sexual tension with a female character that's just at times just uncomfortable. Like yep, definitely the anime feel there, and then just the goofy artwork, the goofy like, if he's scared, then there's the stupid lines above his face or the X's on his eyes. This, or the goofy, like, wide open mouth shots, kind of like Pokemon. That's this was me hating on anime for.
It is not that Gundam-like realism that you're here for.
The only good thing I will say about this that I did like is when it would be when like they would have a match, or not a match, then they'd have a game, or like two characters would be matched up against each other. So they do like the Monday Night Football, like the Devil Bats versus the Cupids, or they actually even did characters like character one versus character this.
Yeah, it's like they're doing. They do that a lot in their game against the White Knights. That's like the majority of what I watched. But yeah, it's whenever they do a running play, it's like, oh, running back versus lineman, who will come out on top, and then for most of that that game, it is pretty much just running back runs, gets shut down every single time. The Devil Bats are terrible. They do not understand that a forward pass is a thing that you can do.
And like, so we talk about, like, you say the lineman guy is problematic, and this is why I don't think he is. Because realistically, you talk about, like, oh, the running back, we gotta hide him or else he'll get poached. How did the lineman not get poached? He blocks for people. Like, NFL quality right there. That's what, like, at least they give him a tryout. Like, there's a player for the Eagles they picked up from a New Zealand rugby team because he's 6'8" and 300 and some pounds. Like, yes, if they saw a guy like that, one, you don't think there would be like some kind of scouting for this guy? Or on top of it, if they're poaching other players from other teams is a thing, you wouldn't think they'd poach this guy from the team of two that he's on?
Well, it certainly doesn't help that at least our main character is a first year, so he's basically a high school freshman, and our other characters are pretty much second years. They're all sophomores. And I mean, they're one
except for those Oho Knights, right? They're seniors. Like that male model's supposed to be like a senior.
Yeah, they're all older, and if you're like either age 15 or above, you look like you're fucking 30 in this. And it's really funny when they recruit the one player who they kind of just forget about. I don't even know what position he ends up playing. He's just kind of there. It's like, oh, I can't join your team because I have this job delivering papers. And that's like,
yeah, I was gonna say the paper guy. It's like, or he gets hurt like midway through. It's like, good thing now we can use you finally, running back kid, at the very last play of the game. By the way, right in the beginning, so yes, you have 11 players on the field. He dodges, I counted, because just for the sake of it, he dodges 18 guys. All with different numbers, by the way. At least seemingly with different numbers from what I saw.
The odds are stacked against him, what can I say?
Hey, I mean, we did just have a college game where a running back scored on a team playing 13 guys. But that's neither here nor there.
So, you are the football expert of the two of us. I dabble in football, in that I know it exists. I know roughly how it works.
Do you know the important one now? Do you know who Taylor Swift is dating?
The guy from the Chiefs.
Okay, there's multiple guys on the Chiefs. Do you have a name
The
associated?
important one, is he a quarterback? It seems like a
Not
quarterback.
quarterback. Not quarterback.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Okay.
Why do I care? I don't listen to Taylor Swift either.
That's
I've been listening to the Gundam Witch from Mercury soundtrack because it's very good. I don't listen to popular music. But even to me, and granted, we're American, football is the biggest sport in this country. So when we get drip fed small and obvious facts about the game of football on the commercial breaks, I think that's immediately going to like make us think that this show sucks.
it's not just the commercial breaks. They do it during the show, like during the actual story. Like, can you explain to me like what a down is? Like, okay, I mean I get it. Like you need to explain it to your audience, but like how like it doesn't show drama. It's
Yeah,
just like, oh, okay, now I've learned that. Like
yeah,
you're not thinking of it in a dramatic sense. You're like, okay, this is something I know now.
yeah, and I think that's going to be the majority of our little talk here because in our lost episode, I joked that this show is going to be like Playmakers, knowing that it was not. And Playmakers, for those who do not know, there was a time when ESPN wanted to get in on the TV series train, like the dramatic series. So they had a football drama series called Playmakers, and it was really good until the NFL got mad and took it away from us. But
Yeah.
what Playmakers does, and you can take all of the edge away from Playmakers, is they tie like actual football mechanics to the story. I still remember to this day the show that centers on their wide receiver who is closeted gay, and the beginning of the episode talks about how it's like, oh, even on plays where you don't don't get thrown the ball, you need to fake it. So you need to look in a certain way. You need to convince the person who's guarding you that you are going to be getting the ball because that is going to make the play happen. That is storytelling, and that is also using the game of football to tell that story. This does none of that.
Well, so that going back to that one, so that's the one like yes, because he practices the art of deception. So basically he's good at decepting people, including himself, because he's closeted gay.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought that episode did a better job is that because why he was scared to come out is because, like, for example, he had to run over the middle as a wide receiver, and they show the consequences of like smaller wide receivers, which he was running over the middle, and especially with a target on your back, it is made to be more dangerous. So it ups the drama of one, the character scenario makes you care about the character and lets you know, like, okay, this is what football is on top of that. This is just like, hey, this kid runs fast and he can cut through people. And look at him, use his football abilities finally to dodge these three bullies attacks that he meets in the beginning of the show. Like,
Yeah,
so,
and granted, they do a decent job going like, hey, this guy's superpower is that he's very fast and he can find holes. It's like, what do you need to know as a running back? You need to find holes and you need to run fast.
more than that, but we'll get.
And I mean, if you got to the end of the game, it is like you need to be relatively tough, like you need to actually like shed tackles and things like that. But that's after they figure out that the forward pass is a thing that they can do. And I cannot get over that because we have not watched a real shonen in this. Like we've stuck to movies, we've stuck to like more realistic storylines because I know your proclivities and you're not going to generally like the humor of like a shonen anime and things like that. But because this needs to follow that formula, after their game against the White Knights, where they get destroyed. Like, the main benefit of them facing the White Knights is effectively, oh, we didn't lose as badly as we thought we would. Like, the last play is this big triumphant thing where main character running back finally beats the lineman evil guy because he enters the Speed Force and is able to score a touchdown. And it just reminded me of the one episode of The Simpsons where Homer says that he wants to be John Elway, and then it goes to the flashback of him diving into the end zone. It's like, ah, yes, and the final score is the Broncos 6 against the San Francisco 56. But
Elway magic, they say at the end too.
Yeah,
great.
It is that exact like story that just kind of took it out for me. And then they face, you know, another jobber type team because they need to like regain their win back. And the big storyline is, one, they've gotten a wide receiver because they have the fourth main character who really likes baseball, but he sucks at batting. And he can't throw. He can't throw worth his life. He's always wild and things like that. So they convince him to play football because they say, well, it's like, I know your dream is to play baseball, but in baseball you kind of need to be good at everything. But in football, like, you can only be good at one thing, and that's why football is great, and you should be in football. And then he kind of gives up on his dreams and decides to play football.
I hate the oversimplification too. That's wrong on so many levels.
But they treat doing the forward pass like it's a superpower. Like, they've reached another level.
Shouldn't the quarterback have not known that? He was such a genius. Like, how many meters is 10 yards? When he's quoting when one female character becomes the manager of the team. He's like, I learned about everything I need to know about football I learned overnight. It's like, okay. So how many meters is in 10 yards? It's like, nobody freaking in America knows that or cares. Dumb.
Oh, tell me, what did you think of their first defensive play against the White Knights going into the goal line defense?
Oh, I didn't even... Sadly, that's part, like, again... It all flies by. I remember them because I remember do I remember from that episode? It's like, oh, like, so excited. At least we don't have to face the White Knights. Who's the next team we face? Oh, it's the White Knights. Like, and they make the stupid googly face. And then I see that like the White Knights, they go to face this team that has like a legit roster of like 50 some odd guys against 11.
Yeah,
11 guys who play both ways whole game. There's a reason why why we're making a big deal out of a college player that now plays both ways again, because it doesn't happen. So like, if you had an entire team that had to play both ways, one, hope to God no one gets hurt, but I mean, basically you are doing sprints you're essentially doing about 140 sprints in the duration of the game.
You're playing a soccer game. You're just always running.
Well, it's not even soccer.
Non-stop running.
Well, at least like soccer. No, soccer's more endurance based, so you're gonna have to like jog, like you get breaks in between. But each play in football is essentially a sprint. Like doing the best you can, you're sprinting each play. So I mean, it's again, so to have guys play just 11 guys the entire game, each one of those plays is a sprint. It's about 100. Even say high school was 12-minute quarters. So you cut about maybe 30 plays out. That's still over 100 sprints a game. So in about a 2-hour span, you're doing 100 sprints. That's no.
So my question here is this, and obviously I think it's going to be like a given that we're both going to give this a 1. This felt insulting to my intelligence over 13 episodes. You only watched 6. I watched 13, so I got to see 3 separate games. I got to see their first game.
Call you Eyeshield 21, just to hide you from all of these scouts.
Oh, do you want to know where that goes? Because they've already undercut that within the 13 episodes.
Well,
Everyone
I mean,
everyone except the childhood friend knows that he is Eyeshield 21.
yeah, he doesn't like. It's not like hiding it. He doesn't like the two teammates know it right away, and like, well, he's trying to recruit other players because he has to play with them.
Yeah.
Like,
Only one of our players is 5'2". He's just a little guy.
but I'm just the manager.
And his
Lord.
his
again,
girlfriend's a giant.
managers are responsible for scouting and tactics. Like, they're not the coach. Like, no.
No, for
Like,
a coach, you need to be a successful team. I mean,
even little giants.
the Devil Bats do not have a coach. Like
the kid. Yeah, like the kid that comes up with the annexation of Puerto Rico and Little Giants. Rick Moranis tells him, like, okay, you're an assistant coach. Like, he doesn't say you're the manager. He's like, you're an assistant coach. Come up with the plays. Because the coaches write the plays.
I feel like that might be a cultural thing, like maybe in the sports club format that that Japan uses for their athletics, like the manager has more to do. Because, I mean, they make the idea that the White Knights have an actual, like, old dude coach with a big football chapel as, like, this is a big deal. Like, they're such a big deal that they actually, have someone who is paid to do this.
Yes, but anime is cultural too, and we're not giving that a pass. Just because compared to other animes. Like, I mean, like, the Japanese do, like, certain sports even better than us Americans. I mean, good lord, look at the success of Shohei Ohtani in baseball. But this is just, I mean, this was the NFL trying to make a play and just didn't.
And they were vaguely successful. It lasted 3 seasons. The manga lasted longer.
That doesn't necessarily make it success. I mean, you could put a lot of money into something and then have it last enough time. Like, I mean, it doesn't mean that. It's tough to say. I mean, again, I mean, certain things got thrown money where they've gotten ratings. I mean, we're wrestling fans. Look at TNA. TNA had ratings. I wouldn't qualify them, even though they were on for a certain amount of time. I don't know if I'd ever call them truly successful.
Yeah, I mean, longevity is obviously not success, but I don't know. I've seen other anime, and granted, like, this was 2007, so this would have been like the 2000s true, like, anime boom period. But I mean, this never got a dub, obviously, since I think a good part of why you weren't able to connect with it wasn't only the thing, but it's also the fact that you needed to read this. But
like, to consider Cephal's just simply off longevity, just to, like, finalize the point. Like the XFL right now that we have. The XFL is going to last probably at least 2 seasons, if not longer, now, especially with their merging with the USFL. But it's because they've had so much money thrown at them by both Vince McMahon and The Rock. But so far, I don't know if I consider it a success. Like, their ratings maybe were slightly better than what they thought they would get. But nonetheless, like, still attendance-wise, I mean, they're losing money. So it's, I mean, it just means they have the capital to keep it alive for a certain amount of time.
So we end up in a situation where the best thing to do to a bad show like this is not necessarily figure out what went wrong. There was plenty that went wrong. Show's insulting to our intelligence. But is there a place for a football-style anime that doesn't do like a Friday Night Lights thing, isn't here for personal drama, it's just here to essentially be wrestling but pro football? Because shonen anime is basically wrestling. It's about matchups, it's about one character's skill versus another, it's about fighting spirit, and going forward from there. So do you think you can get a good show from something that's essentially running back can run very fast. He's up against, villain of the week, who is this position in football, and we are going to try to show you, like, the nitty gritty of what this position does by showing you the matchup against this guy and the various strategies around it. Like, what if they have
Football,
a good safety?
like football is very tough. You can't really do that because football. I mean, I was a football player, so I consider it the ultimate team game. So you still need. It's not a game of like a one-on-one matchup. You still need 10 other guys. So it's very hard to either make that goofy and think that one guy is suddenly going to turn the entire thing around. It's a very tough story to tell. On top of that, you have to get serious in that the guys need to unite each other because they're not. It's hard to believe that somebody would basically join together a group of 11 or a group of 22 in reality's case for like something comedic. It makes it a very very tough story to tell. Football is a story, or football is a game where telling that on the field, plus you're going to have so many characters because of just the volume, the amount of people that are on the field at a time anyway. So it makes it, I mean, look at, again, we go back to Playmakers. Playmakers centered on, golly, they had an episode centered on quarterback, two running backs, linebacker, head coach, wide receiver. And that's not even counting, oh, an owner. So you had 7 right there. And that's not even counting the other people you'd see occasionally in passing that you would somewhat get to know. So it's, this one centers on mainly 4 people, I would say. And yeah, it's just hard because you have to believe that the other people around them are all in. And it's hard to do. It's a much easier story to tell with something like baseball, where baseball is granted still a team game, but you're at bat by yourself. Like, you can give the illusion that you're there to make a difference. Basketball, it's a team of 5 on at a time. So again, less on the field, and then of course wrestling, it's one-on-one. Mm-hmm. But football is very rarely really a one-on-one game.
Yeah, understandable to an extent. I personally think that you could make it work. Probably similar to doing a Playmakers thing, not necessarily like a lot of personal drama stuff, but at least viewing the characters as as kind of an ensemble more than like we have main character here and kind of going forward from there. Like you find a way to make every character important. You have 50 episodes, you can do that. But I would say that probably the most like known team sport anime that did that is called Haikyuu. It's about volleyball. It actually created a boom of men's volleyball in Japan because it was that popular. And the main thing I know about Haikyuu, other than watching like 2 episodes of it and kind of going like, this isn't for me, I'm not into sports anime, is they had one season which was just centered on a single game. That was just centered on one big game, and it was just about like the drama surrounding that. And apparently it's its best season. So I think you can do it. It just requires like lightning in a bottle, like writing. You need a good cast, you need good character designs and things like that. They don't know what they're doing with Eyeshield 21. The characters all look different. They all look like they're from different anime. And in general, they're just a pastiche of like.
There's the reason why even here in the States we don't consider like football movies to be like even the best sports movies. Again, what are the best sports movies? Rocky, boxing, one-on-one. You have like even comedy-wise, Major League, mostly centers on 3 guys. Whereas football, I'm trying to think of like football comedy-wise, the only thing that comes to my brain right now is Necessary Roughness, but that's from 30 years ago. And on top of that, they do have a lot of characters that some of them make a play later where you're like, oh yeah, there's that guy, but it's hard. Like, why this doesn't feel like a big deal?
Yeah, I have a soft
Because
spot for the Replacements personally, but I
oh, the
understand.
replacement is a good one.
The
That's true.
the Replacements, an anti-union movie.
No, like the replacements is good. But again, the replacements is mainly centered realistically on
Keanu Reeves.
one guy storyline wise, and the rest of them are just like we get to know them a little bit, but you already gave them like something to be unified by.
Yeah,
and that they're unified as a replacement player.
Yeah, their kicker has a B plot, like their other characters have B plots, but overall, like you're here for Keanu Reeves as quarterback, and basically just having the plot of Major League, except it aren't those terrible football union players union really uppity about things.
Well, I mean, football is also a very hard
Yeah.
sport to tell an underdog story with, because essentially, like, instead of going up against one guy who's bigger than you, again, you're going up against 11 guys that are bigger than you. So it's hard. It's a very hard story to tell.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Little Giants. Little Giants is kind of an ensemble, even though it's about the adults. I'm trying to think of other, like, I mean, team-based sports movies. You're looking at the Mighty Ducks and things like that. But yeah, in general,
again,
it's hard with movies because with movies, you're going to center on a single main character because you have a limited amount of time to tell the story.
Mm-hmm. But again, that's why it's easier with other sports, because you don't have to delve in to basically so many. Like, again, like, I mean, what's the most popular football movie you can probably think of is Rudy.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm trying to think of, like, what would be more popular than Rudy, and it's maybe Friday Night Lights.
Obviously, what is it, Draft Day, the one with Kevin Costner? That's the greatest football movie. Any Given Sunday, I'm trying to think of...
I mean, I will say Draft Day is better written, but, like, I can see if the writing quality being similar to this. So if the NFL wants to put their name on something that's entertainment, then yep, I can see maybe them sending somebody over to this show and be like, "Well, this is the things you need to put in."
So is this the worst football media thing you have seen? If you think of football as entertainment, is this the winner of the worst?
I mean, of things maybe I can think of off the top of my head that I haven't, like, scattered from my brain. I mean, I've seen some stuff that gets football wrong plenty, but this is up there for sure. I would have to look at all the things I've hated over the years that gets football wrong, but
yeah, is there like a football movie where you would say, I would rather spend 2.5 hours of my time watching Eyeshield 21 than this movie?
I say this I would rather watch Draft Day than this show.
I really hate that movie.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
If you could distill Soulless into a movie, it would be that.
No, maybe. That's no, there are worse ones. There are worse sports movies than that, but no, this show is just, again, like, it's hard to, like, the main character gets beat up for, like, the first 3 or 4 episodes by random people. Where are you supposed to feel bad for him? Because the whole time it just feels like comedy. So it's just like am I supposed to laugh at you getting beat up? Like, or am I supposed to feel bad for you because I'm I'm sorry, but I feel like it's supposed to be funny.
That's because you're a bully, Jelly.
No, it's not, like again, that's the writing of the show and how they make it look. Like it's
Yeah, no, I understand. The tone is all over the place at some point. Like when they try to get serious, it's like when WWE tries to get serious. It's like, oh, we're pulling the Owen voices suddenly. It's like, oh, I can't believe that he crushed his head with the steel stairs, which weigh approximately 50 tons.
the wrestling you watch is just as guilty as a guy sticks skewers person to his forehead. But
So if someone said, Joey, we are giving you the reins on Eyeshield 21, we are giving you the best animators in the business, we are giving you unlimited NFL money, would you
ooh,
would you keep the characters in high school? Would you move them to college and try to also get NCAA money and talk about the transfer portal and all of that stuff? Like, what does your perfect Eyeshield 21 look like?
I would tell like a Jordan Mailata story. So again, Jordan Mailata is the left tackle for the Eagles. He essentially was drafted from a rugby team in New Zealand because he was huge and has like worked his way up to being like one of the premier linemen in the NFL. I would tell a story like that, like, hey, this one person has this skill that's unmatched, that we really see something in them, but they're very raw because they don't know the game. And then you have them travel to where you either put them at, like playing at a high college level, or you have them play even at an NFL level. Ideally, I would put it at an NFL level, especially with NFL money, and then you can have hijinks ensue. But you're just following around this one dude's ascent into stardom within either college or the NFL. That's how I would do it.
No, our linebacker brought an unlicensed gun to a strip club again. And that's just 3 episodes right there.
There's okay, underrated football movie, Last Boy Scout. Great.
I only know the opening of that movie.
What? Oh, because of the gun.
Yeah.
Billy Blanks of all people. Tybo this, motherfucker.
So, and I already gave a tease on this, so Joey, out of 7, so 1 being insulting to your intelligence, 7 being so good it has redefined what good is. What do you give Eyeshield 21?
I mean, the question of like what would I do to make it better, like makes me want to give it simply higher. But even the logos on the helmets were bad. Like, I think one of the things that people don't understand what sells the NFL is because you're not looking at players' faces, you're looking at the helmet. The helmet with the logo is what sells the league. And that's what like looks, so the logos need to sell you. There's just a stupid red batwing on the side of their helmet. So, I mean, I want to give it a 1.5 based on my idea for it because that would be so much better.
You cheer for a team that has just a white, stupid bird wing on their helmet.
Yeah, but that looks a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot more defined. A stupid batwing.
No, it's established. It's iconic, Tony.
And on top of that, it has a different logo on the field. So it's not just the wing on the helmet. It's the eagle on the jersey and on the field.
I vaguely cheer for the Panthers entirely based on their logo, so I'm in a glass house here.
You're sold by the logo. You're not sold by who's the player. You're so like the advantage that the NFL has over everything else is they are sold purely off the brand.
Let's also be fair. You're sold based on gambling, because now I cannot watch a single thing without them talking about betting lines and setting up a fucking parlay. I hate modern sports. Yeah. I hate them. I could have gone to the Twins game today, but I did not.
Orange games, playoffs.
I know, but Tina and I had to stay home because games start at 3:38. We both work. We're both going to Florida on Thursday. It's a whole thing.
Vacation. I see.
Yeah.
And it's is it cold there?
No, it was very warm today.
Oh, okay.
It cools down tomorrow, finally.
Finally.
But so one's all around, or are you being nice and giving this a 2? Are you saying it is bad with potential?
I can't give there's no potential redeemed quality to this particular brand of show. I want to get, like I said, I want to give it a 1.5 because of the Shield, the NFL Shield, and the credits. But it's hard to do that. I'll give it a 1.25.
I'm glad that the NFL are spending money on things that aren't getting high-powered lawyers to make sure they don't need to pay health benefits for aging players.
Kind of do that now. You're just not allowed to tell them that in a movie or TV show.
So, we have a choice to make because it's October and we're in the middle of spooky season, and I'm not going to do another sports anime. I think you're kind of turned off on sports anime. I might make you watch Haikyuu eventually, but there's like 80 episodes of it, and we're not getting into that. But
80 episodes of this, you said.
But I looked at horror shows for anime, and there's not a lot of them. Because I've watched some that are just outright bad. There's one called Junji Ito Collection. Junji Ito is a very well-known manga writer who does horror, and Junji Ito Collection is bad. It sucks. It's not scary.
I mean, I see that Crunchyroll has like advertised the hell out of Jujutsu Kaisen.
You already saw Jujutsu Kaisen.
I did.
Yeah, that was that movie that you didn't like that you saw in theaters.
It was dumb.
Yeah, and that's
weird Slimer sitting in a mall.
Yeah, that is a shonen with horror elements, and that's why I'm going to give you this choice, because I don't think we're going to outright find a horror anime for you to watch that's going to be straight up scary. I think the most I can find is scary elements.
We watched was it from the Philippines?
Oh yeah, Trace.
Yeah.
That I would say is horror elements as well. So you can take your pick between these 3. The first one is going to be going back to sci-fi. We seem to have a decent run with sci-fi, and that is going to be Parasite. So Parasite is the story of an alien invasion where you have a symbiote that basically eats your head, and it takes over your body, and they can be anyone. It's kind of like The Thing, except souped up anime-ness, and
it's better than the Parasite movie that won Best Picture that I absolutely
hate. It is Parasite with a Y. It is very different. There is still social commentary in Parasite, but it is not economic.
I understand it might be social commentary. I just did not like the Parasite.
Yeah, the second option is going to be if you wanted to go back to Jujutsu Kaisen, because it does involve a different main character other than the one that was in the movie. We can absolutely give that a shot, and I can.
Except you ruined it because the big baddie that like they build up in the movie, you said like loses in like 10 seconds in the very beginning of the show. Or was that? Maybe it's just the same thing.
No, that's kind of Gundam. And then the third option would be to look at probably one of the more popular shonen anime that has probably the least amount of horror elements to it, but definitely like has fans. And we'd be watching quite a few episodes because we'd need to potentially watch it until it gets good, but that would be Demon Slayer. Because that's going to focus on thing on fighting demons with swords, essentially.
Watch Demon Slayer. That's on Netflix, right?
Yeah,
Pretty sure it's on
it is on Netflix. It's also on Crunchyroll, and we'll probably watch to the end of season 1, which is going to be a full 24 episodes, so we'll probably cut that in half. But just know that it's going to be a bit of a slog, just so you're aware, because when Demon Slayer has a comedy episode, it is kind of insufferable. But when it has a fight, it's pretty great.
I mean, again, it's all anime.
So that is that. We will do Demon Slayer next time, probably near the end of the month, and then, like I said, we'll probably cut it in half, unless you just wanted to go all the way to like episode 24, I think it is. Because the thing that you do absolutely need to see is like the end of the very first like big fight in it, which is like episode 20. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I would recommend that you start it sooner. It also has a dub, so it's probably going to be easier to watch. It has a very good dub, actually. So yeah, we'll watch that, and we'll decide on kind of where our stopping point is for the halfway point, and then do an episode 2, which I hopefully will put up on the YouTube channel, unlike Gundam Mobile Suit Gundam Part 2, which kind of just fell by the wayside. I can also recommend Gundam Witch from Mercury. It is not in the same Gundam timeline as Gundam The Origin. It is incredibly good. Like, I'm surprised with how good it is. But I'm not sure it's necessarily for you, Joey. But maybe that's something to put on the back burner some other time, if you feel like going back to Gundam.
Game for anything, little brother.
Excellent. So, we'll be back later this month with Demon Slayer, and that's going to be that. So...